People don't want to get financially undressed. They don't want you to see what's going on behind the curtain. Don't change the structure of your income. Don't start looking at things in a different way to, I don't want to say hide money, but it will be found out. There's a person out there called a forensic accountant. They're going to find out what you're doing.
You know, what's done in the dark comes to light. Welcome back for another episode of Civility Wins, the Family Law Edition. I am your host, Kristen Goss, founder and owner of KWG, Family Legal and Mediation Services. We are your knowledgeable, warm, and gracious attorneys. We help spouses divorce with civility, creating a legacy for themselves and those they love most. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And today, I have with me my special friend, Frank Rekas. He is with Palm Wealth Partners. He is a wealth manager, and we're going to be talking taxes and a little bit of other investment strategies. So definitely want to stay tuned. Before we get into it, a little bit about Frank. He has hundreds of law firm owners who he's worked with to cut their taxes, protect what they've built, and create financial freedom on their terms. And I love to share that because oftentimes as a divorce attorney, that's one of the issues that a lot of people have. Financial freedom, they want that. Most people want financial freedom. And so I'm so appreciative to have you here with me, and we're going to talk about finances.
Well, great. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me on and been looking forward to this and having a good conversation.
Yes, thank you. So my question, why? We all have a why as to how we got into what we do. And so share with the audience a little bit about your why.
So it really started, I come from a retail background, and I had zero plans of becoming a financial advisor.
Okay.
Wasn't even on the radar. But when I did, I started to see how I can help people, how I can help them with not only their insurance planning, their investment planning, their retirement planning, and taxes kind of morphed into it. But the big reason for the why is, and why I really enjoy doing what I do, is I come from a divorced family. My father left when I was 4. I'm divorced as an adult. So I've seen the financial implication that it can have on a family and on children. And for me, when I was growing up, money was tight. It was not, it's not that we were poor, we were fine, but money was very tight. My mom worked, my dad worked. My dad worked up until he passed away at 68. My mom worked till she was about 75. And retirement wasn't really in the picture because there was no planning, there was no saving, there was no structure. And I think a lot of it boiled down to being embarrassed financially. I call it getting financially undressed. People don't want to get financially undressed. They don't want you to see what's going on behind the curtain. So my why really is to work with people to make sure that that doesn't happen to them and their families.
I love it. I appreciate you sharing and, being so vulnerable regarding your personal experience. So the three of the services, because you offer a lot, includes financial planning, tax strategies, and investment planning. And so, as you know, working with divorced couples is a transition. And so can you share with the audience, someone who's contemplating a divorce, what are some of the things and the strategies that you can, suggest to be proactive instead of reactive?
It's a great question. I think if you're a business owner, one of the first things you want to do is get an evaluation of your business. Prior to filing, once you know that this is going to be on the radar, you want to make sure that you know what the value of your business is. Don't change the structure of your income. Don't start looking at things in a different way to, I don't want to say hide money, but all of a sudden your income has a drastic drop. That's not a good signal. The revenue might still be coming in, but where's all the money going? Don't create a lot of ridiculous expenses that are just going to look like you're strategizing to show less income. And I was talking with a family law attorney this morning, actually, about a situation where that was happening, where that business owner all of a sudden was showing less money, but a year before that bought a house and showed that they were making a lot of money. So be very careful with how you do that. Make sure you're documenting everything. Be careful with your credit cards. Like I tell my law firm clients, try to use one credit card for your business expenses and then use another credit card or a couple credit cards for your personal. Try to keep everything separate because it's going to be a lot of investigating into your statements and all that. I've been there, so I know those are some things to watch out for. And just don't hide anything. Be out in the open and don't do anything that's out of the norm.
Great advice. I've seen it from the legal perspective. You've experienced it personally and now as a professional.
Yeah.
You've seen all kinds of things financially. So true. Also, once a divorce has been filed, you can't do anything, which there's a status quo order in certain jurisdictions, so be careful with that as well. But yes, valuable advice.
Yeah.
And it comes up, what's done in the dark comes to light, and there's all kinds of tactics that can be used. I've used them as an attorney. You mentioned vocational evaluation, experts, because if you are, underemployed or unemployed all of a sudden when last year you were making, millions, that's an issue and it doesn't look good in court. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
Tax. Let's talk a little bit about tax and tax strategies. I'm sure you get all kinds of questions.
Yeah, we do.
And so is there something that really stands out to you that you can share with the audience when it comes to tax strategies?
Well, I think when you're going to be divorced and there's going to be assets that are going to be divided, you really need to understand what are the tax implications of dividing those assets. And without getting into a lot of detail here, because we could go down a rabbit hole, just be aware, especially if you're splitting IRAs or 401ks, without a lot of detail. Taking a distribution as the other spouse, you have to be careful how you're doing that. What age are you? Is there a tax implication of you taking those dollars? Is it better for you to just roll it over into your own retirement plan? So just be very careful with how you do that. Understand how alimony is going to affect your income and what the taxation of that is going to be for the payer, as it were now, right? I'm in a fortunate situation where mine is tax deductible because it was done before the change. And again, back to looking at your business, don't make any drastic changes. And if you start taking money from some of these things that are going to cause taxable income to you, then well, that just raises your taxes. So if you're all of a sudden maybe thinking that, well, I'm not going to pay myself as much, but all of a sudden you raid your 401k, you didn't really do much difference. You actually that's still going to count as income. You're going to get taxed on it. If you're under 59 and a half, you're going to get penalized on it too. So no drastic moves. And I would suggest, if you can, speak with or your financial advisor before you actually start doing anything that's out of the ordinary, so that you get good guidance, so that it doesn't come and hurt you on the back end. Because it will be found out.
Yeah.
There's a person out there called a forensic accountant. They're going to find out what you're doing.
Yeah. Great information. Investments. Okay. Talking about a lot there, right? There's the ups and the downs. What advice would you give someone who is maybe, investment averse?
Or risk averse.
Risk averse.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we see this a lot in, the divorce clients that we work with. In many cases, and I'm not trying to generalize, it could be a spouse that hasn't worked, or a spouse who was just not participating in the finances at all. And we've had those situations where, not to stereotype, but he came home, put money in the bank, he wrote the checks, and I just knew that there was money there. You have to be involved in your finances. It's extremely important. You have to know where the money's at, how much is there, and you have to talk about things like big expenses. But as you're coming out of the divorce process as that individual who now has this money, the biggest worry is it going to last for me? And am I going to be okay? And that's the big question that we confront a lot, is looking at, your expenses. How much money do you need to live on? Obviously, you want to have some fun and travel and all that, entertainment, so to speak. But as a financial advisor and planner, we need to make sure that the money that you have is going to get you through the years that you're going to be left living. And that's where the planning piece comes into it. As far as mitigating risk. Everybody has a different risk tolerance. To keep all your money in a cash money market account, well, that's not going to do you very much because you won't even keep up with inflation. And then you're going to be taxed on that. So we look at different strategies for different people depending on what their risk tolerance is, and we build their portfolio based upon that. Always looking at trying to get some sort of growth if we can, but we're cognizant of the situation. Older people are going to be more risk averse typically than someone that's younger. But again, it's the expenses. What do you need to live on? Is Social Security going to play out? What does that look like? Is that going to be 100% yours? Are you going to get 50% of his? There's a lot of different variables that we go through, so it's a lot of asking questions and really trying to find out what's necessary and what's needed. And then the alimony. Are you getting alimony? How long are you getting alimony for? It all plays into it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So many variables, right? And there's no one size fits all. I'm sure you get this a lot as well. Someone may come to me and say, oh, so-and-so or my friend, they are getting X amount in alimony per month, so I should get X amount of alimony per month. And it really depends on the circumstances, your goals, where you are in the process.
Yeah, and it's a negotiation at times.
Yeah.
I know it because I've been in that negotiation myself. So you just have to approach it with your head on straight. And the longer you extend that whole process, as you know, the more money you're actually throwing away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else that you think the audience should know that you'd like to add?
Well, I think one thing that is often overlooked is insurance. And I'm not here to sell anybody insurance or tell you to run out and buy insurance, but obviously if you're someone who's paying alimony and you have an accident that prevents you from working, how are you going to pay that alimony?
Yeah.
You won't be able to borrow from a bank because you're not working. Are you going to raid assets that you already have to pay for it? You're not going to. Then what happens to that? So there's actually an insurance policy out there that supports divorce and child support payments to cover that. And that's above and beyond your own individual disability policy. So it actually pays your alimony payment to your spouse. So that's one thing, and I don't think a lot of people are aware of that.
Love
and
that.
I try to talk to the family law attorneys about that product, which is something I came across a few years ago. Besides that, insurance against the actual alimony in form of life insurance, which is often recommended for people, and sometimes the spouse who has to pay for it doesn't want to go through that exercise. You just have to do it because it's protection, not maybe just for your ex-wife, but for your children as well. And then there's long-term care. Long-term care is a big thing. I witnessed it in my personal life with my mom and my aunt, but what long-term care is going to protect is that's going to protect the assets that you have. So if you're going through a divorce and you get $1 million, $2 million, whatever the number is, that's your money to live on. But having a situation that requires long-term care coverage and protection at $10,000, $12,000 a month, do the math, that's going to have a big effect on the assets that you have. And it may not wipe you out totally. It could. And it's always something that we discuss with our clients after their divorce if they don't have that type of coverage. Again, I know nobody loves talking about insurance, but let's face it, it's a way to manage the risk, and it's a way to manage the assets from disappearing for a reason like, poor health.
Absolutely. And peace of mind, that's what a lot of people are looking at. And so for that alone, I would definitely say reach out to someone like Frank to talk more about that for sure. I was going to say something else in regards to the finances and all of that. When you talk about the policy that goes towards alimony, something that a lot of people don't know about, you don't want to come back to someone like me. Because what happens oftentimes is, I lost my job or my income has significantly decreased, so I have to go back to an attorney to modify, and that costs money. And not everybody and not every time do you need to do that, you know? And so that's something for sure that you may want to look into.
It definitely can save the payor and the payee a lot of heartache. I mean, if you're laid up with an accident, how are you going to modify
Right, exactly.
how are you going to modify?
Yeah.
Again, you can't borrow money. So, like I said, this specifically covers the alimony and child support payments to the ex-spouse. And now it's off the table and you don't have to worry about it. How you pay for it, that's decided in the divorce process itself. It does have to be put into the divorce decree that you're going to purchase this policy, who's going to own it. And I usually recommend the receiving spouse be the owner of that contract, just to maintain control and have a heads up if something goes wrong. But that's what I recommend.
Awesome. So my last question to you is, well, second to last. The second to last question would be projects.
Okay.
I know you're an entrepreneur, you're business owner yourself. Can you share with the audience any upcoming projects that you have?
So I have a couple speaking engagements that I'm going to be doing. One for the South Palm Beach County Bar Association, solo and small firm. We're doing a presentation in May, actually on long-term care coverage. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I have a couple speaking opportunities with a couple different law firm masterminds. One is in August, and that will be in person. There will be about 20-25 attorneys at this particular mastermind, and then the other one will be in October, and that'll be a virtual one. So I love speaking, sharing information, educating people, because I think an educated consumer just makes better and more confident financial decisions. And I enjoy the speaker tour, so to speak, if I can get in front of an audience and share some knowledge and help you make a better decision on your financial future.
Love it. Love it. So the last question, but definitely not least, if people have further questions, they want to reach out to you, where could they find you?
So I'm going to give out my phone number, 954-253-5508. Call me. My email is frank@palmwealthpartners.com, and you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there every day. We also have a website, Palm Wealth Partners, as well. So any of those places you can find me and reach me, or reach out to Kristen. Let her know that you want to talk to me.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Frank Rekas, everyone. Reach out. So again, you've heard another episode of Civility Wins, the Family Law Edition. I am your host, Kristen Goss, founder and owner of KWG, Family Legal and Mediation Services. We are your knowledgeable, warm, and gracious attorneys. We help spouses divorce with civility, creating a legacy for themselves and those they love most. Don't forget, share, like, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, and thank you, and stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, take care.